If you thought Germany was famous for its efficient engineering, strict punctuality, and impressive speed limits on the Autobahn, prepare to be surprised. This is a country where dressing up on some beaches can actually make you stand out, and where men sitting down to pee is a common sign of respect. From a thriving adult entertainment industry to a society where escaping from prison is not considered a crime, and you can even get financial help to return home, Germany is full of interesting secrets. If you're curious about a side of Europe you never imagined, these 15 surprising facts will give you a truly unforgettable look at what makes Germany so special. Sounds shocking, but in Germany you might actually get called out for wearing clothes at the beach. This is one of the oldest and most serious body freedom cultures in Europe. In areas marked FKK, being naked isn't just accepted, it's an unwritten rule. If you walk into a public sauna wearing a swimsuit, people will look at you as if you're being rude. It's estimated that around 600,000 Germans are official members of over 300 body freedom clubs, with millions more participating unofficially. Germans are also the biggest group of tourists at nude beaches in Croatia, France, and Spain. Interestingly, this culture isn't limited to beaches. You'll find it at resorts, parks, and even hiking trails in the countryside. You might see people jogging outdoors wearing nothing but sneakers and a small backpack. It's not a joke. It's a lifestyle protected by law and respected by society. In Germany, the adult entertainment industry is not only completely legal, but has grown to an astonishing scale. The highlight of Cologne is Pascha, an 11-story, 120-room building that was once called the world's largest adult entertainment supermarket. It has a gym, restaurants, bars, and even private parking for VIPs. With thousands of customers every day, a place like Pascha can earn between 2.3 million and 5.85 million US dollars a year. The total turnover of the industry in Germany is estimated at more than 17.5 billion US dollars. Don't be surprised if you see streets like Reeperbahn in Hamburg, which is full of bars and nightclubs, but also full of adult shops, strip clubs, and when you go into the streets and alleys, full of commercial activities. On the main street, you will really see people of all ages. Tourists, sometimes even children, walking down the street and visiting adult shops, because they often have bright windows and open doors, like tourist souvenir shops. Germany is one of 9 European countries where adult services are legal and regulated, making Germany the largest market for these services in Europe. Are you a man who's used to standing up to pee? In Germany, this habit could actually land you in court. This culture runs so deep that many private apartments, restaurants, and eateries in Germany have signs saying, "Please pee sitting down." Some places even have sensors that play a reminder if someone tries to pee standing up. You'll see these signs in small public restrooms, private homes, and especially shared spaces. But it's not just about cleanliness. It's an unspoken rule about respect, especially for the person cleaning up. To Germans, standing up to pee in a small bathroom with wooden floors is seen as selfish. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to ring the bell, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. It truly helps me out, and I promise to bring you even more awesome content. Why would this even be surprising? Well, in the US, there is actually no legal requirement for how many vacation days or how much paid time off employers have to give their employees. According to Forbes magazine, the average American worker only gets 10 days of paid vacation per year. After 5 years of service, this increases to 15 days on average, and after 10 years, it's 17 days. Which means that, on average, even after 10 years of working at the same company, an American employee still gets fewer vacation days than the legal minimum in Germany, which is 20 days per year for a 5-day workweek. Most employers offer more vacation days than that. On average, it's around 28 vacation days per year, and you are usually also encouraged to take all of those vacation days. And no, that does not include sick days. Those aren't limited at all. According to Forbes, Americans get 8 of those on average, meaning that if they have to call in sick on more than 8 days, they don't get paid for those days anymore. In Germany, you usually just call in sick and that's it. If you're sick for longer than 3 days in a row, you usually have to submit a doctor's notice, but you'll still get paid. You could date someone for 6 months, go out to dinner, travel together, even meet their parents. But when you ask, what are we to each other, they'll just say, we're still getting to know each other. In Germany, dating doesn't mean being in a relationship, and that's not the exception. It's the unspoken rule you'll need to accept if you live here. This phase usually lasts 3 to 6 months, during which both people can date others as long as they're honest. There's no boyfriend-girlfriend label, no promises, and definitely no I miss you every day texts. In fact, not texting every day is totally normal in Germany. Statistics show that Tinder users in Germany, of which more than 70% are men, women, especially foreign women, are more sought after, but also more likely to fall into in-between relationships. Some couples even live together in shared apartments with clear rent agreements. They buy groceries together, split chores, but still declare themselves single and have no emotional obligations unless they agree otherwise. Just arrived in Berlin and planning to buy bread at the supermarket on a Sunday evening? Most of the shops are closed, most people are not working, and it feels a bit like a ghost town. In Germany, Sunday is a completely quiet day. The locals call it Ruhezeit. That means that on Sundays and weeknights after 10 p.m., you are not allowed to drill holes, mow your lawn, play loud music, throw parties, or make any significant noise even in your own apartment. Even a noisy vacuum cleaner at noon can cause your neighbors to call the police, and you could end up with a complaint from your neighbors, a fine, or, in the worst case, even a court appearance. Why is this law in place? Germany values the balance between work and rest. Sunday is a sacred time to visit family, hang out in the park, go to church, or just do nothing. Instead of shopping, they opt for real rest. There are a few exceptions. Hospitals, police, fire departments, and some sports facilities can still operate. If you sneeze in public in Germany, don't be surprised if strangers turn to you and say, Gesundheit, which means good health. It's just one of those tiny but thoughtful unspoken rules in German culture. The word Gesundheit comes from an old tradition, when people believed a sneeze could let your soul escape. And this wish was like a magic shield to protect you from evil spirits. Science has replaced superstition, but the habit remains a national courtesy, much like bless you in the US. Fun fact, if you sneeze 3 times in a row, Germans will patiently say Gesundheit every time as if it's a cultural reflex. But if you don't reply with a Danke, which means thank you, you might get a slightly unfriendly look. Most taxis in Germany are Mercedes cars. In the US, taxis can be all kinds of different car brands, and in a lot of cases they're just your regular Ford, Honda, Toyota, and other cheaper cars. In Germany, you'll see different car brands as well, but Mercedes-Benz has been the most popular and most common taxi car brand for as long as anyone can remember, specifically their E-Class model, or for bigger cabs, the V-Class. However, Mercedes actually announced that they're not going to offer the E-Class in the taxi version anymore starting this year. So maybe the era of Mercedes cabs is coming to an end. It's important to keep in mind, though, that while Mercedes cars are definitely nice and expensive cars, in Germany they're not considered super high-end luxury cars, the same way they are in the US. In fact, according to statistics, Mercedes are the second most common cars on German streets, right behind Volkswagen. Growing up, many Germans had friends who had a Mercedes as their family car, so maybe that's also why they never found it weird that that's the model of their taxis. Yes, you heard correctly. In the US and in Canada, breaking out of prison is considered a criminal offense, and if you get caught, it'll most likely lead to your prison sentence being extended. But in Germany, if you're incarcerated and manage to escape, that's actually considered part of a human's natural desire for freedom, and ties back to the very first paragraph of their constitution, the Grundgesetz, that says human dignity shall be inviolable. The German people therefore acknowledge inviolable and inalienable human rights as the basis of every community of peace and of justice in the world. So since the desire to be free is considered part of human nature, breaking out of prison is not counted as an additional charge in Germany and won't extend your sentence. What is illegal, however, is helping a prisoner to break out, and if the prisoner commits other criminal offenses in order to escape, such as damage of property or assault, they can be charged for those. If they do get caught, they might also get disciplined by the prison for violating the prison rules. And it might hurt their chances for an early release. Just a little bonus fact, German prisons are actually considered some of the nicest and most humane prisons in the world, and they have a very different philosophy compared to American prisons. Oktoberfest is not a cultural holiday like Thanksgiving or Carnival that people celebrate all over Germany. Oktoberfest is folk festival or beer festival. Yes, it's the biggest one in Germany and even the biggest one in the entire world. And there are events in other parts of Germany and all over the world that use the Oktoberfest theme, and that are even called Oktoberfest. Most Germans from outside of Munich have never even been to Oktoberfest, and the vast majority of them don't plan on ever going either. At the end of the day, Oktoberfest is just one of over 9,000 Volksfests that take place in Germany every year. After Oktoberfest, the biggest ones are the Cannstatter Volksfest in Stuttgart, the Rheinkirmes in Düsseldorf, the Kieler Volk, which is an annual sailing event in Kiel up by the Baltic Sea, and many, many more. So no, Germans don't celebrate Oktoberfest when they're not in Munich. It's not something you celebrate, you either attend it or you don't. And they don't say things like Happy Oktoberfest to each other either. Germany's Autobahn, known as one of the few places in the world where you can drive without a speed limit, has actually become a popular tourist destination for car enthusiasts. First of all, many people seem to believe that the Autobahn is some kind of racetrack or a single street in Germany. But in fact, Autobahn is simply the German word for highway or interstate, so the Autobahn actually stretches across the entire country. But don't be surprised if you get in your car and immediately see a speed limit sign, because while there is no universal speed limit for the entire Autobahn, about 30% of the Autobahn actually has a permanent speed limit sign. And on about 10%, you'll see temporary speed limits due to construction zones. Still, about 60% of the Autobahn has no speed limit at all. So yes, you'll see cars going 200, 250 kilometers per hour or faster, whizzing by in the blink of an eye. So make sure to stay out of the left lane unless you're the fastest driver or you're passing someone else. But then always make sure to get back into the right lane as soon as possible and never pass someone on the right. In the US, people always pass on the right on the interstate, and as long as there are more than 2 lanes, it's actually legal. But on the German Autobahn, you always have to stay as far to the right as possible. However, while there is no posted speed limit on the entire Autobahn, there is something called a recommended speed limit, and that is 130 kilometers per hour. You are still allowed to go faster than that when there are no posted speed limits, but in the event of an accident, you may be considered partially at fault even if you did not cause the accident, meaning you or your insurance company may have to pay for some of the damages. Do you believe a little pig can bring you luck for a whole year? In Germany, every New Year's you'll see chubby pigs everywhere, from gifts and candy to greeting cards, and it's not random. This symbol goes back to the Middle Ages, when owning a fat pig meant wealth and prosperity. In old farming communities, having lots of pigs meant you were rich, and a pig for New Year's was a treasure. Over time, the pig became a symbol of good luck and fortune for the year ahead. Today, Germans often give each other little pigs made of chocolate, marzipan, or porcelain to wish a year of abundance. According to the German Confectionery Association, over 40 million pig-themed New Year's gifts are sold each year, especially in southern states like Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg. In some rural areas, people even hold lucky pig festivals, where real pigs are decorated with red ribbons, race each other, or pose for photos with visitors as a New Year. In Germany, if you drop a glove, scarf, or even a hat, you might not lose it forever. Just look up at a nearby tree. Instead of pocketing it or handing it to the police, Germans have a habit of hanging found items on tree branches, fences, or park benches. It's a small but civilized act. In Berlin, you'll see lost and found trees along the street with all sorts of things. A forgotten kid's hat, a single lost glove, or even a winter coat hung neatly like in a store. Because even have a fun name for these trees, Funbaum, or lost property tree. A survey found over 78% of Germans say they're willing to return found items, and hanging it on a tree is seen as part of the culture of respecting personal property. In some neighborhoods, people even set up a special lost and found hook near the train station as a lost item transfer station. The capital of Germany is Berlin, which is the largest city in the country. This city is famous all over the world for its history and modern lifestyle. The nightlife of this city is also very famous throughout Europe. The bars and nightclubs are open all night long because Germans appreciate their social time. The architecture of this city is also very old and historically significant. The public transportation system throughout the city is excellent. You can easily move around the city by tram, which is one of the cheapest ways to travel. For only about $3.5, you can ride for 100 to 120 minutes. The city is also very clean. You will not find any litter anywhere. One reason for this is that people put empty plastic and glass bottles into recycling machines, which the government also pays for. This doesn't spread waste. At the same time, the government saves on cleaning costs, and people are happy after receiving the money back. The hardest thing in Germany is renting a house because the rent is very high. You may have to rent a room in the suburbs. Usually the rent is about $820 to $1,70 per month. Food is about $350. Health insurance is about $140 to $525, and other expenses bringing the total monthly cost up to about $1,640 to $1,990. This is a country where the government treats its citizens like a caring parent. It can also be called a welfare state in the true sense. If you lose your job and until you find a new job, the government will also support you with money based on the number of children you have. Usually, if you have one child, you will receive about $290. If you have two children, you will receive about $585. You get health insurance based on your income, but one problem that always exists is that getting a doctor's appointment is a very difficult task. There you have it. 15 amazing facts about Germany that show this country is so much more than just efficient engineering and punctual trains. From nude beach culture to prison escape laws, from silent Sundays to sitting while peeing, Germany continues to surprise and fascinate visitors from around the world. These cultural quirks and social norms make Germany one of the most unique countries in Europe, where tradition meets modernity in the most unexpected ways. Whether you're planning to visit, study, or live in Germany, understanding these cultural insights will help you navigate this fascinating country with confidence and respect. And who knows, you might even find yourself embracing some of these uniquely German ways of life. What surprised you most about these German facts? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing travel documentaries that uncover the hidden secrets of countries around the world. We are so glad you are with us today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.